everything football.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to another episode of Footy Booze. I'm Sasha.
Hey, and this is Roman. And today we have another special episode. Champions League semifinals, Manchester City versus PSG. What a game it was, Sash?
What a game, man. You know what? This is the one we were the most excited about. Stars, all the star players are out there, big names. And it's basically Qatar versus Dubai money. It's funny because both teams are
That's true.
The battle of the richest companies for soccer-wise. But straight off the bat, what did you expect for that game, and what were your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we were expecting Man City to, probably dominate possession and PSG to, hit them on the break. But to be honest, in the first half, PSG just stopped Man City's possession right up front. They counter-pressed really well, and they started having, a lot of good possession, and they were able to really move their way around the Manchester midfield and really, create these attacks that weren't specifically like counterattacks, but just, well thought out, structured attacks. Some good tackers by especially Di Maria and Neymar. Unfortunately, we didn't see too much MBAPPE this game. I was expecting a lot more from him, in my opinion, but a very strong performance from Di Maria and Neymar. You could really see they were playing with all their heart. They wanted to win so bad, and they probably did the most running with Verratti in that team for that game. So yeah, no, a lot of good takeaways from PSG, but in the end, Pep Guardiola changed his strategy in the second half, and you could tell it paid off because in that second half, they were all over PSG. Yeah, it looked like they got really demoralized after that Kevin De Bruyne goal, and it was a little bit downhill from there. Then there was a silly mistake in the wall for that second goal by Mahrez. Mahrez took a very good free kick, but it really should not have gone through the wall like that, and it kind of demoralized and really broke PSG. So end result 2-1 for City, and hopefully for me, PSG has a big comeback in the second leg.
No, I completely agree. Like this game, I did expect Man City to dominate, and you're completely right. And it was kind of a surprise to us. PSG having in the first 45 minutes almost more possession than Man City, which is, if you guys watch soccer, it's impossible for any team to have more possession than Man City. It just doesn't happen. And you know what? They looked very choky during the first half. The players making mistakes that they usually don't. Center backs making weird passes, causing a lot of problems in the back for themselves. And overall, I was kind of thinking, am I going to get this prediction wrong? Because this is not the Man City I saw on the weekend against Spurs. This is the Man City that kind of looked like they haven't been to the stage of the game and couldn't deal with the nerves. And you know what? Hats off to PSG with that early goal. It was well-deserved. Marquinhos, who we thought was going to be out, ended up playing a huge fundamental role for them, and that was a good header. You know what, some poor lazy tracking by one of the defenders that let Marquinhos just run to that front post. But overall, PSG deserved that lead in the beginning, and they're going to be kind of upset to themselves that they could have actually had 2 or 3. And like you said, Pep Guardiola, you know what, I don't know what he did, maybe slapped them on the head at halftime, but you see a Man City team wake up. They got their rhythm back. They got some great chances, great opportunities, great one-on-ones they were taking. And you know what? They deservedly, in my opinion, the second half got those goals, because in the end of the day, luck came in their play, but they also were creating a lot of big opportunities that could have actually maybe gone 3-1, 4-1. But
true. And as you mentioned, I think, in that second half, Pep Guardiola really, helped them achieve what they were trying to achieve in terms of that midfield play and that midfield dominance, because it got to the point where PSG couldn't get out of their initial third, right? They couldn't get past, Navas and Marquinhos, and the defenders couldn't play it out. They were just stuck in their side of the field, and they were making a few really bad passes where Man City could have easily capitalized. And Phil Foden could have scored an easy goal in the first half due to a bad pass, and it just looked like PSG were carving themselves a nice little grave. So yeah, Man City really played better, but my question for you, Sasha, is where was Mbappe this game?
Mbappe was nowhere to be seen. That's what happened. He had a
Yeah.
couple of moments of dazzling moments where, like, okay, maybe he's gonna ramp it up. But I gotta say that he was very underwhelming for the Mbappe we know, the Mbappe that showed up against Bayern, Barca. You expect to put money on him to score for these games. And you know what? I don't know what it was, but he just looked not there. Like you could tell when a team's just trying to utilize one players when they're going through those long passes that we're trying to get Mbappe. Mbappe was falling easy in the second half. Anything that came and happened kind of fell on the ground, looking for fouls.
Mhm.
And that's when you know the player's kind of looking for something when they're trying to
Yeah.
fall all over the place. Oh, I'll get a foul and then do something with that. But overall, Ney was the carrier. Him and Di Maria were pivotal in the attack. And Mbappe was just not there. Just poor decision
Mhm.
making, no take-ons that we usually see him take.
That's right. And what frustrated me from Mbappe too is he had absolutely no work rate trying to recover the ball, even if it was his mistake. Whereas when you saw Di Maria and Neymar, these guys were fighting even in the defense to try to get the ball back. You could tell they wanted to win so bad because they were running for every ball. They were fighting for every challenge. They were, getting hurt a bit in the process, but they were working for their team, and it was paying off. And that's really when PSG was at their best. And seeing Mbappe just not feel like he looked like he didn't even want to be there at some points. And I'm not sure if it was a mental thing because of the pressure now that they finally beat Bayern. They feel like they're on the home stretch, or maybe it's because that he's played so many games and his ego is like, no, I need to play every single game. Now he's tired because he's played every single game. Maybe that contributed as well, but clearly he had a very off performance, and they will need Mbappe in the second leg if they want to win this tie.
Yeah. And another big thing for that game is red card or no red card.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where the ref was going. I'm a bit surprised they didn't even go to VAR, to be honest,
Mhm.
because at first I wasn't even sure if he was going to give a card, and then he went straight to red, which I was a bit surprised with. I thought could have been yellow. It would have been a very tough yellow, but at the same time, I could have seen a yellow over a red, especially in a game of this, proportion, and the way the referee was letting, fouls go in the first half a lot more, easily. That there was a lot of play-ons instead of fouls. So I'm surprised he went straight for the red there. Um, yeah, what were your thoughts?
Honestly, you're right. Like hearing all of that, it was a rough game. It was for not like in a game I expected where a couple of yellow cards, one red card, a lot of fouls, like it was a tough game. You see these boys, they were playing with heart and they were
Mhm.
tackling like no other. And I think it was a red card simply where the studs are at, higher than if it was his foot, it's a yellow, but because it was above the ankle and closer to the Achilles, it's a dangerous tackle. You saw Gundogan, and if you know Gundogan, he's not one to dive. He looked in pain. That looked painful. I watched
Yeah,
that. I was like,
yeah,
oh, my Achilles felt that. That was a bad.
yeah, yeah.
So I guess now best players, worst players of each team. Who do you think?
I mean, best players for PSG has to be Neymar. He was absolutely everywhere, instrumental in all aspects of the attack. He delivered the assist, right, and created many other chances, and was working really hard on the defense.
Mhm.
Worst players, as harsh as it may sound, I think Mbappe. Really, he was. It's like they were playing a man down before they were playing a man down, and then they were playing two man down because he still wasn't in the game. So I think it's Mbappe and maybe even Navas. Navas definitely should have scored that or saved that first goal from Kevin De Bruyne, and that would have maintained the level of focus and concentration from that PSG side. So maybe I'd give both of those a 5. Neymar in my mind was a 9. He played unbelievable. If he scored a goal or two, he would have got a 10 for sure. In terms of Man City was much more of a whole team performance, but the best player has to be Kevin De Bruyne, really creating the chances and creating that first goal that really helped take them to the next level in that game and to the next stage where it didn't look like PSG was in it anymore. So I'd have to give it to him. It was an 8.5. He wasn't as influential as Neymar, I think, but definitely very important. And in terms of the worst players on that team, I mean, it's tough to say, but I think I'm gonna go with João Cancelo. I think Pep Guardiola is very smart taking him off right after the hour mark to mix things up and to make sure he doesn't get sent off, because he did pick up an early yellow that was a bit reckless and pretty unwarranted, because it didn't look like, Mbappe would have had much of a chance against like 5 defenders anyways. So I think overall everyone on Man City played really well. So I'd have to give the worst player to João Cancelo, but he still played probably at a 6 or something. So not, nothing too bad. What are your thoughts?
So I guess I'll start off with PSG. Definitely the star player Mbappe rated pretty low in my book. So I put in my
Oh, okay.
in my opinion, I put Mbappe. In my opinion, though, I put Navas as the worst, just because that goal is just should never happen to a keeper. Beautiful
Yeah.
cross that kind of got no one touched it. So I guess
He made it tricky for him though. He made it tricky.
he made it tricky for sure. But Navas, the player he is, the goalie he is, you expect him to save that. So I put Navas at a 5, and I put Mbappe at like a 6. For the best player for PSG, I got Ney was fundamental. So I put Ney at a 8.5, and then I put Di Maria at probably like a 7. Those are probably my top players for PSG. And then we look at Man City, and I got put Mahrez on the book. To me, he was clinical with his passing, with barely any mistakes done. Goal that, was a lucky goal, but hey, he scored it. And created a lot of chances and took on a lot of players. When him and Bernardo were going that wing, it was nice little intricate play they had between themselves. So I definitely put KDB and Mahrez as the top, but Mahrez for me kind of just edged him off over De Bruyne. So I guess big players both gave games. I said KDB was going to score last episode, if you guys remember, but I said it was but different. But I guess closing statements. Homai, what do you think for the last statement of this episode?
I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens in the second leg. I had PSG going through on aggregate. Sasha had Man City. Regardless, it's going to be an exciting next 90 minutes. But in any case, if you do like the comment, please leave a like, and we'll catch you in the next one. Booty Breeze out.
Booty Breeze out.